Hey, everybody.
Good evening.
Hello.
How are you, everyone?
Good, thank you.
Is everybody staying warm or however it is where you are? Is it cold or is it, not too bad?
It's night already. 10 p.m.
Oh, it's evening. Yeah, we have, let's see, it's 4 o'clock Eastern here. And
Yeah, 10
Yeah.
p.m. here in Germany.
Yeah. UK 9 and about 0, about freezing.
Wow.
It's about the same here in Wisconsin today,
Yikes.
about right around freezing,
yeah. It
which
was
is
2 at
warm
night.
for
Yeah,
us.
it was 2 minus 15 high yesterday. It's like we're talking about Fahrenheit. So for people who need Celsius, it's like 20 minus 20 Celsius or more.
Today we had about 10 degrees plus in Celsius.
It still seems cold.
Yeah.
10 degrees plus for this year, for this time of year, it's warm.
Yeah, that's pretty
Really
warm
Yeah.
for January.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
positively tropical. It's like I'd like 10 degrees.
Yes.
Well, so that's what it is here. It's 50 Fahrenheit or 10 Celsius.
That's
10
because you live
Celsius.
in St. Louis. We hardly ever get to 50.
I mean, we still have lots of snow on the ground.
Yeah, it's pretty white out there if you can see the woods and the snow.
We ended
The
up with
Nordic
about
lamp.
an inch. So we have about an inch on the ground. That's it. We've
Yeah.
had so little snow this year.
We had one day where it was about 3 millimeter deep, but as
That's
soon as
pretty.
it snowed, yeah, as soon as it snowed, the temperature went from -6 to +11 the following night. I don't know why the temperature zoomed up to 11 overnight, but it did, and so that was it. It was here, it was gone.
Yeah. But where
It's
you live,
volatile.
Julie, it gets, it can feel just as cold because there's a dampness in the air.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Crazy
pretty intense.
humidity.
This has been one cold, weird January, like really cold compared to.
Warm January here in Germany. Comparable warm.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, Liz.
Hey, Liz.
Hi.
Hey, everybody again. Everybody coming in. Hey.
Looks like we have some new faces that I haven't seen before.
Hi,
So
Julie.
welcome.
Hi. Yeah, I've seen a lot of new signups on the Discord in the last few
Yes.
days. Yeah.
Good to see you all here. I'm busy trying to finish up the editions for Amrevet Days, which some of you may know it's coming, others may not have been informed yet, but that's the Gwen and Asen honeymoon book. So that's coming on February 14th, and I'm busy putting together like the formatting and the cover art and all that stuff. So it's almost the book is done. We're just doing the format. So that stuff is happening, and we'll see if we can put it up for pre-order soon. So finally that book is going to be coming out, which because one of the things that I can do, as you know, I write really big books, like endless, huge, like
We haven't noticed.
1,000 pages. Well,
Yeah, no.
I figured there's no reason whatsoever to make that type of long book, but because it's still a big story, it's like a casual, relaxing, sexy, attractive, honeymoon story it's a travelogue. So I can just make normal sized books and have volume 1, volume 2, and so on. And probably, we may have up to 5 volumes of this thing. So the first volume is a full-size novel. So here it comes.
If
I
you
like
have
that
it, if
plan.
you have it that long, Vera, well, if they're all 3 days or so, then probably you can do it, but she's gonna have that baby pretty soon.
Well, exactly. I can't keep doing it. So I think the book covers 3 days. This book the volume one that you're
Yeah,
getting.
I think
Right.
it's, I'm still in the process of verifying, and it's a slow process.
I got kitties walking.
It takes longer to actually read it that way than to read it to enjoy it, because I'm looking for.
Well, we got to do the cleanup. See, this is what happens. When I finish the draft, that's a first draft, and you get it on Patreon and Ream, which is just my subscription platforms. You don't not have to be on it. You don't have to do it. But this is just for people who want to support me as I'm writing it, and they get to read it one chapter at a time. That's like a serialization. But you know, because this is gonna go on for months and years, whoever knows how long, you know. So I figured let's release them quicker. Let's give you little normal sized books as they happen. So, but in the meantime, don't worry that there is another book coming. So February 14th, Valentine's Day, that's Unread Days, Volume 1. That's already scheduled. Now, EOS, everybody wants to know when that's coming. That's that's
Yes.
book 1 of the prequel series. I know you guys want to, it's very close to being done, but I had to pause because I had to get 2 things. We have the special edition, 10th anniversary edition of Qualify, which I had to finish. It's done, it's out there, it's available. I still don't have it in my own hot little hands because
I got
because it's-
notice. I got
well, it
notice that it's
takes so
coming.
long. Yeah, it's like it's gorgeous. I've seen one person in Britain who bought it so far because they make each book by hand. It's a bespoke process. So the printer is in the United Kingdom, so you know, and the shipping and all that stuff. So I don't have my copies yet. The only person who does made a TikTok. So I've seen it. It looks really freaking gorgeous. It's a
does.
big, huge, fat, you know, edition. So that's already done. And now right now I'm probably going to be in the next 2 days, I will be done with the editions of Unread Days. We can upload it, put it in the system so you can have the pre-orders, and I'm hoping I might have pre-orders ready in the next couple of days. So you will have Unread Days an ebook, of course, and that means Kindle, Barnes and Noble Nook, Kobo, Apple, Google Play, you know, every library access, so all the normal ebooks. And you're gonna get the standard hardcovers, which is the typical hardcover, and the standard paperbacks. But eventually we're gonna have a fancy one. We're gonna have a special edition of that too, but that's not a, you know, that's a special thing. So all the normal editions that you are used to getting, that's coming on February 14th. So you'll be able to get those books. Thank goodness. And in the meantime, I should be done with that stuff. Finally, you know, I did the qualified release for the 10th anniversary. I'm finishing up Unread Days. EOS is gonna be up like express, you know, get it done, get it out there. So I am hoping that I can once, you know, in this week, I can kick it into gear, and maybe, just maybe, we may have EOS also done by TagCon. So crossing every bridge, because I would really, really love to have that book. It's very close to that. It's I think it's 128,000 words right now, which is in book length, that's approximately 400 pages. So we're yeah, it's close. But that's my next thing. And right now, as soon as I put the last upload for Unread Days, EOS is gonna be full steam ahead. No more distractions, no other editions or whatever. I'm sure you guys will be relieved to hear this, because
Vera, Kathleen was asking, will there be audio version? I know there'll be audio versions of the main books, but what about Unread Days?
Okay, what I need to do is I will look into it, because, like, again, this is the audio versions are done by a traditional publisher, which is the because you know I'm indie. I'm doing these are as self-published indie release books. But I have for my audio, I have the contract with Tantor. So Tantor Media, or I think they're called RB Media or something. They renamed. So they're the ones who are putting out the books. So I need to ask them. I'm gonna send them the book. They're gonna look at it, see if they want it, because it's not like one of these like, here, take it and do it. So they have to say yes first, and then I'm hoping they will, because you know they've taken my other books. So once they do that, it takes you know several months to get those things done. So the shortest I can expect audio, if we start counting from like February, you know, 14th release date, I would say we can, you know, by fall maybe, because I don't think they can do it any faster. It's just that's how it is. So we will eventually have audio, but if if we're going through Tantor, you know, it's just gonna take a little bit longer. So, but in the meantime, with EOS, so I just noticed, what was it in the chat you're saying about Sophia Willingham? Let's see what you said.
Yeah, I thought we decided we don't want her again.
Oh,
Well,
really?
I don't know if, yeah, I don't think we're gonna do it because it's a different, for this series, it's a different narrator, it's a different person. So, the main character in EOS, which is Semi, it's a totally different person. So, yeah, we don't want the same narrator narrating Semi as Gwen, because it's just,
That makes sense.
there's no difference. So, yeah, I will probably be talking to Tantor and see if I can get, you know, a different narrator for that. So, because she's got a different personality, she's a little bit more spunky, and she's got an attitude. She's a little pugnacious, like she would want to go and start a fight, you know, because that's what Sammy's like. Now, those of you who have been reading along on my Patreon and Ream, you know, you've been reading the story as because it's like I said, you know, we're on chapter 35 or 36, you know, something up
35,
there.
35
So,
total.
yeah, so you guys you know what she's like. This girl is not gonna take she's a no nonsense. She's not gonna, like Gwen would just take it. This girl will not. So a narrator would need to read.
She does have and she also has a big mouth. Well, Gwen does too, but Gwen is more tempered.
Did you say big mouth?
Yeah, they got, both of them are a little bit, they tend to say some things, but remember Gwen is a contemporary modern girl, and she's very educated. She's a stellar student, you know, she's a nerd who studied, who knows everything. This girl is not that. She comes from a very poor, uneducated class. So you will see, those of you who are like
She's
unfamiliar
very
with the story.
unfiltered.
Yeah, she
Unfiltered
comes
is
from the very poorest people in Atlantis, the ancient Atlantis. And you're going to see what happens with her and how she doesn't know how to read or write. So she's, you know, but things will happen. So
She has a strong moral compass, a very strong moral compass.
yeah,
Yes,
she
she
does
does.
have that.
And she's not stupid.
No,
No, she's not stupid.
definitely
She's
not.
stupid. Yeah.
She is uneducated, but she's not stupid.
Well, she's just basically, she has no means because the way it is, things in the class system in ancient Atlantis, just like in many other ancient places, you had people who you had like a scribe class who would know all the stuff. They would be able to write and read, and then you have the upper classes who have, you know, can do whatever they like. But the very poor people would not have access to that stuff. So as you will be reading it, you will know what she has to go through and the kind of difficulties she's running into. But remember, this book is, it's a parallel to Qualify, except it's like ancient qualification, because these people have to qualify to get on the ships to escape the original apocalypse, which basically destroyed Atlantis. So all of that good stuff you're going to be getting in EOS and so on, you know. So we got a lot of fun stuff for you. And I'm trying to think what else. We have how many more chapters do I need to go into to get the whatever I plan to put in this book? I was going to end at a certain point, but again, because this book is getting to be so big, I don't want 1,000 pages. I do not want to do another survive. I want to stop it at a certain point a little bit sooner. So then the next book, you can get that in. So again, no more 1,000-page door stoppers where, I can't even pick up the book. In fact, did you guys know that a lot of the publishing printers have a limit on books? If I once you start
Really?
going like a lot of printers, like I do Ingram, and I do the Book Vault in the UK, and they have like 800 pages. I think Ingram's limit is no, Ingram has 1,040, something like just barely over 1,000. So I barely squeaked through with Survive. Survive was 1,039 something, 38 pages long. Oh my goodness. No, we don't want that. It's just that was the last book of that cycle, so we had to get all that stuff in there. But now we have a new cycle. It's an old cycle which also connects to the original story. So anyway, so we're not gonna go that long. We will try to finish it aiming for TagCon. So you may have by TagCon, you actually may have 2 books, 2 new books. Thank God.
Hmm.
Can you imagine?
to
Because
know.
I've been, Survive came out in the beginning and around this time 2020. So it's been how many freaking 4 years of no
5.
big novels. We did have books. We had Ace in Blue, we had Ace in Black, we had the Atlantis Grail Companion, we had People of the Atlantis Grail. So 4 books came out. And then just this fall we had the omnibus edition of Ace and Cass, which those of you who have seen it, this is my new the pretty edition, because it has all these fancy things and has shiny, beautiful gold and rainbow and other things. It has bookmarks, it has let me see what else. It has like chapter headers. So it's just, this is a fancy, nice edition because people want that. A lot of people want those editions, so I had to come up with it. And this is a omnibus of Ace in Blue and Ace in Black in one. So it's not a new story. This is just, put them together into one big Ace in book, Ace and Cat. But so we had those books, and we have, of course, Qualify, which I don't have yet. I literally don't physically even have it in my hands yet. So, but those are the books we've had since 2020, and it's about time. You guys are due for big books from me. It's enough is enough waiting. I'm so sorry. It's part of the problem is the more the story grows, like the universe expands, I have to slow down as I'm writing and cross-check everything. Because there are so many details. Now I have to go back and say, okay, this date on the timeline, this person, this event. So everything has to be constantly cross-checked, and I can't just say, oh, we'll just write this story. It's like, no. So we're entering into constant, like, I sit here as I write, I have to look at the companion myself because this book has the fact.
Well, that was handy. You basically wrote your own Bible.
I did. I said, you guys might want it, but I really need this thing so I can. Because without it, I mean, looking at all the statistics, I do have spreadsheets. I have, Excel spreadsheets of characters, like descriptions, their eye color, hair color, height, general, whatever. But this is just easy. I can just open this book and go, okay, I can look it up. So it does help. So if you're curious, this guy here is pretty handy. And it has, the maps, it has all the good stuff, the charts, holidays, Atlantean holidays, and so on and so forth. Everything you may want to know. Plus the language. Oh dear, we're gonna have more words. We have more words coming up in both Amrivet days and in Eos. We're going to have more Atlantea words. So the dictionary is going to grow.
That's gonna be
Of course. And eventually, when that series is done, we're going to have a companion expanded volume with everything this time for every possible kind of. Plus, now, once you start reading Amrivet Days, you will notice that we're going to different countries because it's a kind of a travelogue. Okay, so Amrivet Days it's like survive after the epilogue, but before after the last chapter, but before the epilogue. So that's where it fits. So it's just right after Gwen and Ace, you know, the war is over, they're okay, they're alive, you know, so that's where it fits in the story-wise. They're going around the planet and they're looking things, and they have to look at countries, and they have different languages there too. So hey, you'd have Deshi language, you have Eos Heket language, you have Ubasti and so on. So there's a lot of other stuff, not just Atlantea words.
And there'll be some characters that we briefly met. We'll get to know a little bit better.
You're gonna, and you will, characters will be, there are some surprising things in there. Now, I must warn you, because if you're used to reading the YA version, you know, the books are standard books, qualify, compete, win, survive, and all that. They're intended for general audiences. You know, they're YA, young adult, teen appropriate. Amrivet Days is not. So if you are not appropriately aged, if you're not 18, please don't read it. Wait until you grow up. You know, so if your kids are going to be reading, do not let your kids read that book, because that's
I
not what
think if you're an older teen, you can read it, but
you know,
definitely not a younger one.
it's whatever's appropriate to your, like, if your parents allow or whatever, you know, if you allow your kids, that's fine. But I'm just saying that as I'm legally obligated to tell you that this is not that type of book. So that's why it's not being counted in the books. It's not a part of the original Atlantis Grail, because it's an adult, it's like a tag adjacent. So it's of course it's Gwen and Nathan, it's the same stuff, except we're talking in an adult language, adult situations, a lot of adult situations, because it's the honeymoon. So yeah, we do not let your kids near that book yet until they're 18 or love. So just a warning. Now, that does not apply to Eos or any of the prequel series. They're fine. They're the same level of general audience. So kids are fine. In fact, you know, I encourage anybody, you know, like if you're, you know, 12 and above, please start reading. There's nothing, there may be some things are implied, but there's nothing on the page, and there's nothing that's going to be inappropriate. Trying to think. Yeah. Everything is pretty much what a child of 12 and above is fine. Yeah. So it's YA. And to be honest, some other books, some other people who write YA, you know, they can get pretty explicit, but no, these are not. I think Survive had some moments, you know, the wedding night was a little bit explicit, but that doesn't even, nothing comes close to that. But of course, that's when you have Amrivet Days for people who want to read more. So, see what anybody else has here. Oh, there's a question about Zell and Oala. You're going to hear something about Oala, yes, and of course there are mentions of characters. You will now. Here's the thing, because that's an insert book. It's an adjacent to book 4. It's 4.5, but the book of everything that's coming later will cover obviously a lot of the material that you're asking, like Zell and Oala. What's happening with these people? It's about approximately 5 years after the end of Survive. So yeah, that's gonna, some of this.
Remember that this is Aeson and Gwen's honeymoon. So they're not going to have regular interaction with family and friends.
Yeah. Later in the chat, she wanted to know if there were still the books about them gonna come out.
Let's see, what do we have in here?
You know,
Okay,
like, is there gonna be a Zell
Let
book?
let me see if I can explain this thing. The way the Atlantis Grail works, you have 4 books, right? The 4 core series. And there's a 5th book called The Book of Everything. But you should not read it until you read the prequel series, because it's just, that's how the structure works. It's so hard to explain without you actually getting to that point, but you will see that once you read the Book of Everything, you're gonna have to refer to some things in the prequel series. So
I think
Yeah.
think she was talking about the novellas, the character novellas.
oh, the novellas, okay. You will
I
have
know-
tons, yeah, you will
I
have a
know
lot
that
of
you're
them.
planning on
Zelio's,
Elio
yeah,
and
his
Bree.
novella's next, yeah. And I think
And-
Bree was gonna be after him, so, but we wanna have Eos out first. I want you guys to have big books first, before we get to novellas, so. There will be, yes, there will be definitely novellas, because I got stories to tell. You still have to find out what happens to Zell and what happened, how did Bree become what she is, and a lot of her backstory you will be interested in. So some good things coming.
She's one of the more interesting characters.
Yeah, yeah. So you will definitely have all these novellas, but again, because there's so many books and it's just so, the things were complicated. The world is complicated. I need to get the core, the prequel series out, and you have 5 books in the prequel series, but the way you're gonna read them is you will start reading the prequel series after the 4 books of the main series, but you will stop at the 5th book, and you have to go, then you go to the Book of Everything, which is book 5 of the original series, and only then will you read the 5th book of the prequel, which is Starlight. So the very last book of Tag is Starlight. It's not the Book of Everything.
Well,
And
and
it's-
Starlight brings past and present
Yeah,
together.
and I don't want, without going into major spoilers, because it ties everything together, and you will see why. Because once you finish the Book of Everything, you will immediately want to read Starlight. And it makes it very, very clear. But you will know sooner, once you start reading Eos, you will know why. Like, it starts to kind of show the direction of everything. So I wish I can just tell you now, but you're gonna have to read this. So hopefully next month. Hopefully,
Or the
let's
month
finish
after.
Eos. Let's see what else you guys said here. Novellas. Do. Yeah, okay, the Book of Everything is going to cover a lot of the characters' fates. Like, you want to know what's happening with Zell in 5 years, and Oala and Caraval, all these people. The Book of Everything will cover tons of that. And see what we have. Audiobooks. Yeah, February or March, I want February. I mean, honestly, I have to kick myself in the butt to get this done, because I need to get this book really, really done. It's just, it's driving me nuts. And I know you've been waiting. So March at the latest, but I really think we can get it into, on February. It's at that point where I just have to sit down finally. No more special editions, no more, Untitled Days will be done, it'll be out, and and I can't wait for you to read that, because those of you who have not been reading Alice, you will be there's some fun characters. There's a lot of good new characters. A whole new kind of cast.
Oh yeah, there's my favorite mean person.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have the mean person. I know who you're talking about. Yes. There's some villains and other not so good people in there, and
He makes Ramatat, look like an angel.
yeah, the bad guy.
I mean, he's
pretty
really,
bad.
really, really evil.
Yeah. And there's more. He's not the only one. There's one villain, there's more villains. So yeah.
There's
Mhm.
female
for that-
villains, there's male villains.
Yeah, and there's also female villains. So you see, unlike in Tag, they're not really so much villains as they're kind of like difficult people, but you getting some really bad people in the prequels. And it's going to have a lot of parallels to the original series because they're escaping Earth, they're in space, they're looking for the next, the colony planets, all this stuff, and parallels. But boy, is it a different story, completely different. But the good news is you're going to learn a lot about the ancient ship. Okay, you know about the ancient ship Vimana, right? The one that's actually the top part of the Atlantis Grail, because for people who are a little bit unclear, that the cup part, like the grail has a cup, that's half of the chamber, right? So you know that. Well, you're going to learn how that part was made, who was responsible for the Atlantis Grail, how they got that made and attached to the Vimana, where the Vimana is, where is it being built. So all these things, who is going to be inside the ship? There's four, it's like a pea pod with, 4 peas inside the pod, right? You have the yellow, you have a red habitat, blue habitat, green, and yellow. And you're going to find out all the people who are filling up those habitats before they blast off, okay? And the politics, the machinations, and all that. Oh my goodness, it's just starting now. So yeah, part of the reason why the book is again big is because it's a lot of world building and a lot of new people to introduce. We have a lot of issues, and oh my goodness, the Pegasi are going to be in. You will learn a lot more about remember the Pegasi Orion? Well, there are others, and you're gonna learn a whole lot.
Pegasi? I thought they were Pegasi.
Well, you can say anyway, it's Pegasus, Pegasi, however you want to pronounce, because this is just it's a term that's based loosely on the word. So yeah, you can say Pegasi, Pegasi, either way is fine. But yeah, you will meet some other different individuals in that alien species, because it's a species. So you're gonna have other alien Pegasi or Pegasi.
And you get to meet the princess.
Of course, you will be meeting Arlenari, which is the ancient princess inside their sarcophagus. You know about her, so you will get to meet her in person, and she's a major character. So that's happening. And of course, there's Semi, who is the major character, and everybody who's been kind of mentioned briefly in Survive. You will be meeting these people, and some of them are jerks. Some of them are nice. Some of them are really bad. So you will see.
They're people, and you've got nice people and mean people and so people and want to be like everybody else people and bullies and
Yeah, and they're just normal, except the problem is that, again, it's ancient times, but it's a technologically advanced civilization in sort of the Stone Age. So there's the colony not colony, the original Atlantis is a continent, and everywhere else around it is just like Stone Age people. So they're like, and they got all the monopoly on all the technology and all the stuff, and and there's orichalcum, which is
it's a real it reminds me a lot of many years ago when I was in Egypt, and we were on a road that was next to the Nile, okay, and you would have a dirt hut, little hut with some farmers scraping by, and 100 feet 200 feet away was a mansion. So you'd have this really poor and rich, and the contrast is, we're not talking about miles apart, which they are
right.
in ancient Atlantis, but you can see it. You know,
Yeah.
you can see poverty and
Well,
Mary.
imagine, high tech, a high tech culture, kind of like ours, and then you have really kind of almost primitive people. I mean, in some cases, primitive people, and this is because it's just how it is. Pretend in this ancient world, it's like the ancients were a very sophisticated
well,
technological.
Semi's house, they've got, they got the TV.
Well,
But
I don't want to remember. I don't want to spoil people because if they have not read on the Patreon or on Ream,
but they limit
Yeah.
their time that they watch,
yeah.
That-
I just don't want to give any spoilers for
Limited-
else yet because that's
Yeah,
until
spoilers.
yeah. Spoilers, no. I mean, a lot of you, I know you've been reading, so you know what's happening. But again, even with that, I just wanted, because some of the things about the story is just, it's fun to discover as you're going. And mushrooms are very important. Let's just say that's not a big spoiler, but just remember mushrooms, big deal in this story. Very, very important. So yeah, that's gonna be there.
Okay, just saying it that way makes it sound so strange. Mushrooms are important.
I know. They are. They are.
I mean, I
They're
get
plot
it, but it
points.
still sounds weird. Yeah.
It is, I know. And it's edible. It's not mushrooms like hallucinogenic stuff. No, this is mushrooms as in like you go to the supermarket and get yourself
Normal edible mushrooms.
normal edible mushrooms. Yep, exactly.
No, with no bonus side effects. Yes.
Yes. Mycelium and mushrooms are is an important thing. Fungi.
well, they're vegetarians, so you
Yeah,
gotta,
and you will get more of that. You will get a better explanation of how the heck did that happen? What's happening? Why are they? So some of that will be better explained. And again, it's an evolution of the ancient, really ancient, like using the term ancient aliens. Well, literally, they're ancient. The golden gods that you've met in Survive. Those weird, like light beams or light forms. So they were in ancient Atlantis and they did some things. So but for that you will have to see. But Atlantis, in terms of ancient versus the colony planet, there are differences, obviously. Thousands of years have passed, but one thing you need to remember is that the society is so fixed. They are so kind of like stagnated in their own thing that it's very slow and it's very minor. Like the differences are so gradual because they just don't change. They hold on to the same traditions and don't want to do anything new. The same hierarchy of, the imperial family is up there. Then there's the nobles. Then there's the regular, there's a citizen class, like noble citizens, and then just all the peasant stuff. So and even the citizens, some citizens are pretty much they're born in Atlantis. They are really poor, so there are poor citizens in there, but the class differences are huge. But fun stuff.
and that's what I imagine takes so long to write, because you want to make sure that it's consistent with
Yep.
the little tiny bit that we already know and Survive.
Yeah, it's the consistency which takes forever. And if I was just writing kind of like a new book series from scratch, I could go so much faster, but I can't. And literally, if I make the mistakes, you will be annoyed because I would be too. If you're going, oh, this is not right. How come you're telling me this is in the original series you said this, but now you're telling me this? Like, no. So I have to cross-check everything. And one of the things is the timelines are so weird because the timeline on Earth is in Earth months. And then we have the using the conversion calendars and all that. because Atlantean time it's a different, the months are different. So once right now they're on Earth time. So thank God, at least for some minor miracles. But their months are different because the ancients didn't use the same type of calendars. So we have another new calendar to deal with. It's like, oh joy, you have the Atlantean calendar, you have the Earth calendar, and then you have the ancient Earth. Kind of similar, think of ancient Egypt. They had a different, all these guys had a different calendar. So you're getting a third calendar here. But thank God for Excel spreadsheets.
There's a couple more questions that have been popping up for you, Vera.
All right, let me go see. Okay, Imperator. Okay, that's a male. Okay, Imperatriz is the female. So Imperator is he does not have to be like the ruler can be a female, but she'll be called Imperatriz. So the Imperator is just a male term. Yep. And let's see what else. Who was this prequel series? Okay, prequel series. It was not in my head because you know why? My producer wants a prequel series. So we talked early on when I was finishing up Survive. My producer, Richard Joe, we talked and he said, let's have the prequel series too. And I was so glad he told me that. Because instantly my brain went back and I said, yeah, because it'll explain a lot of things. Plus, we can enrich the timeline. And you may be used to watching TV shows or streaming, when they go they do these kind of like flashbacks, right? They go to like old times or ancient history or whatever, historical flashbacks. So hopefully when this series happens, they will be doing flashbacks to old Atlantis. And I think that that's going to be really, really useful. So crossing everything that they can do this now, but yeah, so that was
Carrie, Carrie, what do you mean by not figuring out the Atlantean calendar yet?
Well, I'm still working through the book. I just haven't quite got it straight in my head yet.
do you know
Are you
about
talking about past and present
Yeah,
or the actual
putting the
or
past
the
and
actual
present.
calendar?
right,
like-
there's also the that we have the website, right? The calendar.
Right.
We're good, yeah. So in case if there's anything specific in terms of dates, just plug it in there and it should just kind of give you a clear. But
I'll definitely do it.
yeah, it's just think of it this way. It's 12,500 Earth years ago. 12,500 years ago was the cataclysm. The ancient Atlantis went bye-bye and everything started. So that's what the events of the prequel series are taking place right now. We're 12,500 years ago, but in Atlantean years on the colony planet, it's only 9,000 of the new
Seven.
colony planet calendar. So
Right.
that may throw things off. So as you're reading the book, if they're talking Atlantean calendar, that's where the 9,000 something. The year is, in fact,
9,771.
thank you. Let me
Yeah.
just see where we have to find the freaking calendar. See, this is why I'm using this book constantly as a reference, because without it, I will go nuts.
And Jules, in answer to your question about the con, we're still working on the actual schedule. I will tell you we are changing some things. It's only going to be Saturday. We're going to do the fan chats Friday evening. We're talking Eastern time. And then it'll be all day Saturday. But where we fit everything in, we're still waiting on our guest list before I make the final schedule.
Yeah, part of the problem is always guests. We have to have the guests. We can't just have a schedule and assume. So, and we decided to streamline things because we used to have all the Sunday stuff, which is kind of like, a little bit big. We put everything on Saturday this year. If it doesn't work, then next year we'll switch back. But we figured, let's just try it this way. Because it's easier for people to have just one day, solid schedule, just have that one big day. And instead of thinking, oh, I have to go to bed and wake up for whatever stuff next day. So,
And we're only doing one quiz.
Yeah.
So it'll be the championship quiz.
Right.
it'll be a little longer than the qualifying quizzes have been, but we've gotten fewer people participating every year, so we thought, let's just go with one quiz, and it will only cover the main 4 books and Ace and Blue and Black. It won't cover any of the new books,
Right,
like Amrivet Days or anything.
Yeah. because that's too much. And
Because
also,
not everybody can read Amrivet
Right.
Days.
also,
or-
Amrivet,
or
yeah,
will have
it's
read.
because it's not the same YA level, young adults. We don't
Right.
put those things in there.
Right.
But we will have a panel. We're going to have a specific, now that you have a book, the book will be out in public, so we don't mind spoilers. So we can talk spoilers during the midnight or whatever, the evening,
The late
the
night.
late night sexy panel, shall we call it, whatever. So that's gonna be its own
Which for
thing,
Jules
you know,
and Lark would be early morning.
yeah.
Yeah. I have don't look forward for it. Well, long night will be a long night for me.
Yes.
Yes, well, it's easier than having to worry about the next day getting up for that, it's just because are we doing the Friday fan chat? We're still doing a
Yes.
Friday, right? We're doing, yeah, because that's like a warm up. So it gets you
Yeah.
in the mood. And then the next day, everything is like bam, the nice big long day. So yeah, that makes sense. And we can't, the problem with guests is like we can't start asking guests early because people will forget. First of all, they cannot schedule, some people cannot schedule themselves that far ahead. So we have to talk to people kind of like,
Must be in August or
yeah,
something.
especially people from Hollywood. Those literally have to be done like the 2 weeks before. Like we can't, so Richard usually gets his, the lineup for the Hollywood panel. So we can't even begin to ask people because they may not be available. It's just, that's how it is.
Well, and
Yeah.
there, because and the reason is we've tried that. Richard Leacock, which is one of our favorite actors. And he was in the very first con and joined us last year. And I asked him, hey, want to come back this year? And he said, ask me closer to the event because I don't know what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah. Because
And
all
they've
these
had the
people,
fires and the other stuff going on. So, and he, by the way, is also a fan. He's read the books.
Yeah, for me in my world, I organize archaeology and history talks, and we have to book people 6, 7, 8 months in advance, or a year in advance.
right. Well, remember also, are these in-person talks or are they Zoom things?
In person.
See, that's a little different. If we had if this was one of the like Greece, TagCon Greece, where we had people coming in, we will definitely do that because we can't, obviously, the people have to get their planes, rearrange schedules. But with a Zoom thing, with a Zoom virtual con, it's a little bit easier. It's both easy and hard because people forget. Everybody tends to forget Zoom schedule type of thing. So we have to send multiple reminders to everybody that yes, there is a thing at that time and you're on this panel and please be there.
Plus, the actors are donating their time
Yeah,
to
exactly.
this. So if they have a paying gig, we obviously, understand
Right.
that.
Right.
So that's why a lot of them are like, well, contact me closer to the event, and then they'll know whether or not they've got
Right.
a paying gig or they're open that weekend.
Well, we have different categories of guests. We have the writers, we have the scientists, we have the actors. So between these people, and we have occasional some, cross whatever category people like entertainers, but mostly they're different. Like the scientists usually are like NASA. You have to get permission from that. So it's like they're pretty fixed. Like they can give you a good answer right off the bat, With actors, because they're like, Hollywood. It's the Hollywood schedule where everything is in flux, so we don't know. Writers, again, it just depends. Sometimes we can get writers who's also Hollywood writers or just fiction writers, and 3 different tracks of people to worry about. And imagine if this was a physical convention, which I hope we'll have one, soon at some point, we may have not just guests, but we may also have regular fun activities. Like I would love to have a ball, like a high court, an actual in-person type of fun event, where you would have the convention guests will be participating, but this is something you would have to be in person for. You can't do a Zoom ball. So, it's a different type of programming completely.
We have a question from Faith that she said, starting with the first book, so qualify.
Yeah.
How hard was it to do the world building?
I took an Egyptology class, people. I went to Harvard. I literally I have a credit for an Egyptology class from Harvard. That's how bad it was. I had to contact NASA and, ask them, so a lot of research. It's a lot of, because it seems like it's casual, silly stuff, but the science is there's some good underlying science there. So some of it is out there, woo-woo, stuff is fantastical, but it's a lot, let's just say, a lot. And you wouldn't believe the kind of weird things I had to research too. So it's not just, yeah. See, we got for world building, because I had to look into ancient Egypt, all the different, the different myths, remember, because I'm pretty good at Greek myths, but I had to rediscover some other culture myths. Look up all gods, learn Egyptian, my God. Learn hieroglyphics.
I remember you talked a little bit about how you came up with characters' names, the Atlantean names, and that was pretty amazing.
Well, the thing is, I'm a little OCD, shall we say? I'm sorry, I cannot, like, if it's wrong, I can't just get a name and say, oh, that's fine. It's fantasy. No, I literally have to go into a dictionary website for ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, look up terms, consider them, put them together. So a lot of the names are literally like ancient Egyptian words and terms, and like easy one, Nephir, means beautiful in ancient Egyptian. So Im Nephira, my beauty, that's like Atlanteo terms. So, everything has some kind of a thing, the Ben Island, it's the Ben stone. There's an island where they had the stage 4 of the games that comes from the Ben stone, which is the topper of the pyramid. So, every stupid little term, every word is from somewhere. And I had the rare honor of challenging Google and other search engines to find terms that don't exist. So I literally broke, like the last time, I think in Untitled Days, we're gonna have the name of a river that is a word that does not exist on the internet, which means I was so excited to say, when you
got to
Google
learn
it,
a new cuss word.
well, yeah, but I'm saying when you go to Google and you enter it and you go to Bing, it literally comes back saying not like, it's just, there's nothing. I'm like, oh my God, So that's the other thing. I have to be careful not to use words that are like registered trademarks or something, something that's off. So between researching ancient terms and trying not to use modern copyright, modern trademarks, it's weird. It gets really weird there. Like I would be entering every possible spelling of some word, and if it gives me weird like results, which I don't want to be
February.
doing, I would keep changing it, changing letters, adding letters, taking away
21st.
vowels, consonants in.
Okay, 21st.
See if there's anything else here.
I just wanted to point out we've got about 5 minutes left.
Any other last minute questions, you guys? Because you will have a lot more questions when you get the books, so that's good, but
That's definitely true.
yeah,
You can, we've got plenty of places on Discord where you can do chats and talk. If there's something, we will have a writers panel, and we start out with Vera. If there's a question specifically that you would like us to ask Vera,
yeah,
put that in Discord, and then we'll put it in there. Make sure that it's addressed.
exactly. Let me get something to drink.
And if you're unable to make a panel, they will be recorded and you can watch them later.
Usually, if you want to have questions asked, it's better if you're there live, because then we can get to it. So if you have specific questions, try to be there, but otherwise you can submit them ahead, see what we can get to.
And we're talking, for time wise,
Yeah.
in planning, it's best if there is something you want, ask us ahead of time and we'll go ahead and put that in there.
Yeah,
Because if you're asked something last minute, we may not be able to get to it.
right, exactly. Because these hours can go by really fast, especially if you have really good speakers, like we're hopefully, we'll get Dr. Michelle Thaler again, hopefully, crossing all fingers, because again, she's a busy person, she's a wonderful science educator, and if you have her in for 1 hour, it flies by like that, and she has no time to answer like 1% of everybody's questions. So you get your questions in, and hopefully early, and then we can ask all these people the different questions.
Not only that, sometimes we can, if we get all the questions ahead of time, we can eliminate the duplicates, obviously. But
That's
sometimes
true.
we can consolidate some of the questions into a single question,
Yeah,
and get a really good answer that way. That goes for everybody, any of the panelists. If you guys, when you see who's gonna, well, that Richard's gonna be there, Richard Joel.
yeah.
But any of the other panelists, once you see there, if there's a question, like Nancy said, put in Discord and we'll compile them all.
Yeah, make sure you, because you're here, you're registered for the convention, but also be sure to get on Discord, because that's where the details, the panel information, all the events will be posted there. So you can, basically you'll click through and you can just go to the events. So much easier that way. But let's see what else. We have the tag website. I will be updating more, because right now there is there's always a website for each New Year's. As soon as we start getting more confirmed guests closer to the event, their bios will be going up, so you can check back and see who is literally going to be at the event. So right now there's nothing there, because we don't have that. Even the programming is still in flux, so we can't have anything there. But we just have a kind of like a bare bones website for that. But check back for the schedule, the bios, and to see who is going to be there, what guests we have, different tracks, again, writer guests, scientist guests, Hollywood actor guests, or Hollywood, professionals, different, not just actors. They're usually producers, people who are in the industry. So, and again, the whole thing with the series, we don't know yet. Let's see what Richard can give us an update on, because right now California is burning. So, boy,
I
is
think
that
they got
coming.
the fires out.
That makes it, it's like, we've had really weird luck, okay? First we had 2020 happened with the pandemic. Then we had the writer's strike. Remember the Hollywood strikes? Oh dear, that took away. So it's like, and now the Hollywood, now the fires in that whole Southern California. So, things are bad enough as it is, without having all these things are interfering with
EOS has
Hollywood's
got to be
production.
the
And, it's just not easy at all. And, everybody is affected by that. So, but let's hope that there's some progress on that. Because I would love to have a series for you on the TV. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Yeah, so get your
Are there
questions.
any final
Yeah,
questions?
yes.
Anybody? Jason.
Remember, check back. Oh, get on my newsletter, because the newsletter is when I send out like the release date, like the book is here, pre-order links, you know, so if you want to kind of like get it right when it's happening, get on my newsletter, which is veranazarian.com/signup.html. So that's how you can get on my newsletter. You know, it's pretty simple. But you will hear, I will be posting everywhere I can imagine to say when Amrivet Days is when you can get it from pre-order, you know, when else, the status of else, and so on and so forth. So it's coming. It's coming.
Do we have any idea about the next real time or real person con? Will it be 2025, 2026, 2027?
Then
Like an
what-
in-person, like a Tag USA tag
Yes.
or something.
Yes.
Not yet.
Tag on Mars.
Not yet, but as soon as we do, you'll be one of the first to know.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Well, I know that you have to plan your vacation at least a
Right.
year in advance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a problem.
Oh, yeah. No, I get that. It's see, getting Greece was such a big, wonderful thing because our wonderful Liz had a venue. So we could go to Liz's hotel, it made things so much simpler, you know.
Yeah,
But, you know, so in this case, it'll be different, you know, unless you own a hotel in the USA. So we'd have to make arrangements, get broom blocks, you know, get a venue and so on. And so in fact, there is one possible place I may have here in Vermont at some point, but not far, not yet. So it may not be in Vermont. It may be somewhere else. Probably somewhere in the middle of the country. So it makes it easier for you to get there.
Any other final questions? Okay, just a reminder that Discord is there for general chatting. Questions, if you've not already done so, make sure that I have your real name so that we can, you know, if we have prizes or whatever, because you never know if we're going to offer something. I don't have to say,
Yeah.
I will know
Trisha
what-
Mason, we had a winner, because remember we had a giveaway for this thing. In case you missed the announcement, she already got her book. So Trisha Mason was the winner of this thing. And that was fun.
so you know, those are just little things. We don't generally advertise who anybody is.
This is the last pre-con chat except for the Friday night, right?
yes.
Nancy?
And
So
that's
this is the
that's
last
regular
chat
convention
before.
chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I hope to see all of you at the con. It was really nice to see all your names come up in Discord.
Yes, definitely.
And we're gonna have a lot of fun, you guys, a lot of different panels, fun speakers, different topics. So, you know, it's gonna be good.
Thanks for doing this.
And
Thanks for
thank you,
coming,
guys.
Kathleen.
Good to see you
Again.
here, all of you. And see you at the convention. And check your email if you're on the mailing list for when the pre-order happens for Amrivet Days. So that's coming.
I think we're all excited about that.
Oh yeah.
And
Definitely.
I'm doing I'm finishing that cover. You've seen probably the ebook cover. I'm working on the hardback and the trade paperback covers. Oh boy, they are nice. They are good looking books. So that's gonna be good.
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to it.
Yep. Go, and then EOS after that, very soon. So
Okay.
Question? I think we're done.
Before we-
Well, thank you, everybody, and
everybody.
we'll see you next month, hopefully.
Hey.
Take care,
Hi,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Lovely
Bye,
day.
Harriet.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.